Somehow I am behind. Okay. All right. So anybody wants to do a little summary? What are we reading here? Anybody?
Mataji, did we read last week's on Wednesday the Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, we
Okay.
did.
Okay.
Rose joined like last week, right? So we were doing the summary and we didn't record.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So we read only one verse on that day. So we summarized and then we read one verse. Yeah, I remember now. We read 27.
Yeah. For me, my because I did not join, my marker was at 26, finished,
Yeah,
and we at
yeah,
27.
yeah, yeah. 27 we read, just one verse we read.
Okay.
Yeah, because we were doing the summary for her. So we read only one. All right. So, yeah, so we are hearing about Arjuna gave arguments he doesn't want to fight. And the first one was that compassion for the towards the body. And in this section from verse number 11 to 30, Krishna is actually defeating Arjuna's argument, which is his compassion towards killing his family members, his grandfather and his teacher and his nephews and all the family members, his brothers, his cousins. So Krishna is defeating his argument in the sense, oh, you cannot kill. You are fool number one if you think you can kill the soul. Soul is eternal. Nobody can kill the soul. But even if you think that, oh, this this living entity will die forever, still there is no reason for you to lament because it's just a chemical basically. Nobody cries for when the chemical mixes with something else. You don't have to cry, lament for that. So then in the last verse number 27, Krishna said that you should do your duty. So everybody who has taken birth, they're going to die anyways, and after that one will take another birth again. And so this is just, one has to die either today or tomorrow. So in that case you shouldn't stop doing your duty. All right, so now continue. Someone wants to read? I didn't read, so maybe I can read. व्यक्तादीनि भूतानि व्यक्तमध्यानि भारत अव्यक्त निधनानि एव तत्र का परिदेवना. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So, what need is there for lamentation? Purport. So, this section for last three verses, Krishna is speaking about even if you don't believe in the spirit soul, even if you think that this body is all in all, then accepting that there are two classes of philosophers, one believing in the existence of soul and the other not believing in the existence of the soul, there is no cause for lamentation in either case. Non-believers in the existence of the soul are called atheists by followers of Vedic wisdom. Yet, even if, for argument's sake, we accept this atheistic theory, there is still no cause for lamentation. Apart from the separate existence of the soul, the material elements remain unmanifested before creation. From this subtle state of non manifestation comes manifestation, just as from ether, air is generated from air, fire is generated from fire, water is generated from water, earth becomes manifested. From the earth, many varieties of manifestations take place. Take, for example, a big skyscraper manifested from the earth. When it is diminished, the manifestation becomes again unmanifested and remains as atoms in the ultimate stage. The law of conservation of energy remains, but in course of time, things are manifested and unmanifested. That is the difference. Then, what cause is there for lamentation, either in the stage of manifestation or in unmanifestation? Somehow or other, even if the unmanifested stage things are not, sorry, even in the unmanifested stage, things are not lost. Both at the beginning and at the end, all elements remain unmanifested, and only in the middle are they manifested. And this does not make any real material difference. And if we accept the Vedic conclusion, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, that these material bodies are perishable in due course of time. Antavantu ime deha. But that the soul is eternal, nityo, sorry, nit, nityasyotaha sharirinaha. Then we must remember always that the body is like a dress. Therefore, why lament the changing of a dress? The material body has no factual existence in relation to the eternal soul. It is something like a dream. In a dream, we may think of flying in the sky or sitting on a chariot as a king, but when we wake up, we can see that we are neither in the sky nor seated on a chariot. The Vedic wisdom encourages self realization on the basis of non existence of material body. Therefore, in either case, whether one believes in the existence of the soul or one does not believe in the existence of the soul, there is no cause for lamentation for lost body. So very, very clear, straightforward. So just like um, we heard in the third canto how the material creation happens, and when after annihilation, how everybody, all the bodies reside in the body of Mahavishnu, right? So that is the law of conservation of energy. So it is never lost. It can be in one state now, it can go into different state or later, right? Before creation, where were all the bodies, right? They were created from this earth material element. So if we don't believe in the soul, so there are two types of people, atheist and theist. Atheist, they don't believe in the presence of the soul. So if we believe that there is no soul, then also there is no reason for lamentation, as Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that conservation of energy, and the second example he gives about the skyscraper building. So they are made from earth, and then when they become old, they get demolished, and still the matter remains, right? The bricks and all, they may be turned into just small pieces and just like that. So conservation of energy, it remains, energy remains. Similarly, for the body also, it was present as unmanifest. It was not having this shape, size as we have now. And then it came into existence by the process of creation, and then again it will annihilate. Still, the elements will remain in different form, right? So then Srila Prabhupada is speaking about it is just like if we believe that the soul exists, then we read so many verses that the soul will never die and the body will never remain. Body will always perish. It is just like a dress on the body. So there is no, and it's like a dream because whatever in dreams we think of so many things, and but when we wake up, it's not there. So this body is like that also. So we should not lament for the body, whether we are theist or atheist, whatever we may be, right? Yeah. Yeah. So manifest, unmanifest, it keeps changing, but and we heard that verse in in Bhagavad Gita itself, 213, I think, Dehino asmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara prapti dhira satra namuyati. Means, as a child, like one takes birth, the body starts, it's a small baby, first in the womb, and then the baby comes out and the baby grows. So the body is changing, and ultimately it is dwindling and die. So there is no just like the body is changing from boyhood to youth to old age, and nobody actually laments for the growth of the body. So similarly, somebody who is a dhira, who is a sober person who understands, they don't lament when the soul changes the body to another body, takes on the another, just like the torn garments, we change. Similarly, the body also change. Yeah. So maybe we can read one more. Someone wants to read?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Sorry, I could not join early. I had something on.
It's okay.
Okay, so verse 29. आश्चर्यवत् पश्यति कश्चिदेनम् आश्चर्यवद् वदति तथैव चान्यः आश्चर्यवच् चैनम् अन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वापि एनं वेद न चैव कश्चित्. So many आश्चर्य word here.
Yeah.
But why?
This is called amazing verse, actually.
Okay.
This verse is called amazing verse.
Okay. Translation
Ashcharya.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yeah.
Mm.
Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Purport. Since Gitopanishad is largely based on the principles of Upanishads, it is not surprising to also find this passage in the Katha Upanishad 1.2.7. The fact that the atomic soul is within the body of a gigantic animal, in the body of a gigantic banyan tree, and also in the microbic germs, millions and billions of which occupy only an inch of space, is certainly very amazing. Men with a poor fund of knowledge and men who are not austere cannot understand the wonders of the individual atomic spark of spirit, even though it is explained by the greatest authority of knowledge, who imparted lessons even to Brahma, the first living being in the universe. Owing to a gross material conception of things, most men in this age cannot imagine how such a small particle can become both so great and so small. So men look at the soul proper as wonderful either by constitution or by description. Illusioned by the material energy, people are so engrossed in subject matters for sense gratification that they have a very little time to understand the question of self understanding, even though it is a fact that without this self understanding, all activities result in ultimate defeat in the struggle for existence. Perhaps they have no idea that one must think of the soul and thus make a solution to the material miseries. Some people who are inclined to hear about the soul may be attending lectures in good association, but sometimes, owing to ignorance, they are misguided by acceptance of the super soul and the atomic soul as one without distinction of the magnitude. It is very difficult to find a man who perfectly understands the position of the super soul, the atomic soul, their respective functions and relationships, and all other major and minor details. And it is still more difficult to find a man who has actually derived full benefit from knowledge of the soul and who is able to describe the position of the soul in different aspects. But if somehow or other one is able to understand the subject matter of the soul, then one's life is successful. The easiest process for understanding the subject matter of the self, however, is to accept the statements of the Bhagavad Gita spoken by the greatest authority, Lord Krishna, without being deviated by other theories. But it also requires a great deal of penance and sacrifice, either in this life or in the previous ones, before one is able to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna can, however, be known as such by the causeless mercy of the pure devotees and by no other way.
Prabhu. Yeah, you want to say something, Prabhu?
Yeah, Mataji is mentioned here. The soul is amazing actually because it's mentioned in first paragraph. See, it is present in the gigantic like animal banyan tree, like big things also. At the same time, it's present in like some microbic germs as well, who are very small. So the people who have limited knowledge actually, who are not austere, so they cannot understand the wonderful activities. I mean, how the spirit soul is. So it is mentioned even though the knowledge about the soul is given to Brahma, the which greatest authority and first living being. So, but still, people, I mean, they don't believe it or they don't take it, imagine that way. And because they are illusioned by the material energy, yeah, the Krishna's energy. And then also it is mentioned some people actually they try to understand about this, but until and unless one gets the knowledge from proper source, it's difficult to understand the real position of like soul. So actually, we know now by Prabhupada's mercy, the soul is a part and parcel of Krishna, of super soul, we can say, and qualitatively, both super soul and soul, they are the soul, they are the same actually. So our constitutional position is to be a servant of Krishna always, servant of Krishna that way. And in the last paragraph, it's mentioned that the easiest process of understanding this subject matter is to accept the statements of the Bhagavad Gita as it is, right? And also, until and unless one gets the causeless mercy of a pure devotee, it's difficult to understand the reality. Yeah. So Prabhupada is mentioning here again, we should discuss, study this in the association of devotees, then only it's possible to gain the knowledge about.
All right, thank you, Prabhu. So anybody has anything to add? Soul is amazing. And journey to know the soul is also very amazing. Haribol. Is
Yeah, I think
everybody
we
awake?
covered. Yeah,
Huh?
Mataji. I think we have covered.
Yeah.
Prabhuji covered and you covered.
No, I'm just asking if anybody has any comments or some realization, something to take from today's discussion.
Yeah, self-realization. This amazing verse because this uses the word amazing so much. And so we have to understand who we are, right, and not be on the bodily platform. And the basically, Prabhu mentioned, understand our constitutional position that we are the servant of the Lord. And from the Bhagavatam, it's more bhakti process is the best process for understanding ourself and our relationship with God. This mystic yoga and this asanas and this Ashtanga yoga is not for this age.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Anybody else? All right. So if nothing, then we can end. So I really like that point that Srila Prabhupada made. What is this Krishna consciousness in the Bhagavatam? What is this Krishna consciousness? And then he says that how the friend wants his other friend to come back to him, right? Because super soul, we read in that whole purport about the super soul. So one sentence Srila Prabhupada wrote that how a friend wants the other friend to come to him. So the super soul, our best friend, he wants us to come back to him. Yeah, and this amazing verse is really amazing, especially when that other verse was quoted from some other scripture where it says that the same soul is present in the humongous banyan tree, and the same is present in the small living entity everywhere, right? So it's so amazing that that tiniest soul that gives consciousness to the whole body, whether it's a big, large, humongous banyan tree or small ant, or even smaller than ant microbe. Yeah. Yeah. And then we forget to take care of that. Just want to take care of the cage of the bird, but not the bird. Yeah. Okay, so thank you, dear devotees, very, very much. 8:44. So we will end here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrindi ki jai, Vancha Kaltaru Vaishya, Kripa Sindhu jai, Patitana Pavane Vaishnavi Namo Namah. Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Hari
Thank
Bol.
you,
Thank you
dear
so much, Mataji. Hari Hari
Dandavat
Bol.
Thank you.
Dandavat
Thank you,
Pranam.
Pranam,
devotees. Dandavat
everyone.
pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hari
Thank
Krishna.